Hello, welcome to this week's Knit Chit Chat. I'm gonna see if I can get things in order here. If you're watching this bit, you are definitely watching the replay because it takes a little while for folks to join live. And this is the weekly Knit Chit Chat. Hello. There's all sorts of folks joining. So this is our weekly Knit Chit Chat. It's where we hang out and talk about life and knitting, and I'd love to hear from you. So it's not just about me. So how's your week been? Let me know in the comments. And if you're watching the replay, I'd love to hear from you too. So let me know in the comments how it's going. This week has been chaotic. I do not have any notes to remind me about what happened this week, so this is definitely going to be a go with the flow kind of live. So yeah, how's your week been? Let's see. I would say this week feels like it's all been about the Kickstarter campaign for our In Tandem magazine for Pattern Design Circle, but that's actually a lie. I've maybe put in 40 hours on it, but I had 3 days where I had other stuff I had to get done. So Sunday and Monday was working on that campaign. If this is your first time joining live, or your first time seeing me at all, hello, welcome. My name is Jessica. I'm a knitting pattern designer and the design facilitator behind the Design Circle. So inside of the Design Circle, we have been working on a project for several months now to create a collaborative design magazine publication. It's for knitters and crocheters, but the issues are exclusively knit or crochet. So it's a quarterly publication, which means it will be released 4 times a year, 1 for each season. And so of those 4, for the first year, 3 of them are knit and 1 of them are crochet. And we are currently working to finalize our Kickstarter campaign because it is supposed to launch next Thursday, which is very, very exciting. But it's also a collaborative project, of course, so we're all working on putting in our input and feedback and managing all of that. So I think that gets you up to speed for the most part on what the project is if you're not familiar with it. But so Sunday and Monday, that's pretty much all I worked on until like 2 o'clock in the morning. And then Tuesday I had to work on getting my secret design written up actually in the pattern. So it's my first time working with a third-party publisher. So I wrote it up into my my layout on Tuesday, but I also wrote it up into the publisher's layout. So that was kind of exciting because that was my first time using somebody else's layout. And I was like, hey, this is actually way easier than I thought it would be. And then I opened the test knit for test knitters. So I went back and looked at the contract because I had to review a few things. And it said that I could give some sneak peeks as long as I didn't say who it was for. So there's a sneak peek. It won't be coming out for several months, but that is what I've been working on for that secret project. And is there anything else I did? I mean, every day I've been doing some about some stuff in Discord and Design Circle and all of that stuff. This morning, I know there's been a few more folks that have joined. Hello, welcome. Let me know how your week's been. So this morning, we had a Design Circle workshop scheduled that I completely forgot about and somehow missed the calendar notification on my phone. And I was working on Kickstarter stuff and had just hopped into my email for some reason. And I got I saw the message in my email that somebody had joined my Zoom call. I was like, Zoom call? What is Zoom call? Yeah, there was a workshop this morning. I hopped on like only maybe 30-45 seconds late, but I was a mess. So I left the screen off while I like finished scarfing down my bagel, and then yeah, anyway, it went well. But that might be a good summary of my week. Yeah, so that got us through Tuesday, my secret design. Oh, and then this is what I worked on Wednesday for a fair bit of it. Not all day, but if you remember, or maybe you don't remember because maybe you haven't seen my lives, but I applied for a test knit for S-Knits, who's Sarah, for the daily slipper sock. It's a cozy DK weight slipper sock. And yeah, it was due Wednesday. So I'll go ahead and go back to these comments because I read them as they came in and then I never addressed them. Catherine said she felt this talking about how my week was going. And Karen, when I was talking about putting my pattern into the publisher's layout and style guide and standards and everything, she said it's not as scary as laying out on the publisher's layout. But yeah. Yeah. How's everybody's week been? Share in the comments. Something else I usually do is I like to ask, what are 3 words to describe your week? Just to sum it up, if you'd rather not say every little thing that happened. 3 words for me. Like I said, I did not get notes put together. Usually I, try to be somewhat organized before these, but my 3 words would be busy, exciting, and chaotic. Are busy and chaotic too similar to the same thing? But anyway, I guess that just describes the week. Just because there's been so much going on. It's lots of exciting stuff, a lot of big projects coming to end, the design, the Kickstarter campaign, what else? Oh, the podcast that launched last week. So I had just started submitting it before my live last Friday, and I would have been told to expect it would take up to 2 weeks to review, and it was a whole bunch of places it suddenly was on already. So I suddenly had a podcast right before the live last week, but that's been fun. So yesterday, Thursday, I actually spent some time doing podcast stuff because that is still a very much a priority for me. So what else I did this week, I have no idea. I think I maybe got a little bit of sleep. I definitely ate some stuff. Karen said for her week, on holiday, chilling, beach, sunsets. Oh my goodness, Karen, that sounds so amazing. That's my perfect ideal life, as long as it was not super cold. But I love the ocean, love the beach, love sunsets. It sounds amazing. I hope you had an absolutely amazing time. Are you still on holiday right now? Or are you back now? I think you said you were back in Discord, but yeah, what else? Oh, I was gonna talk about this desert. I apologize. I'm all over the place. Okay, so this Desnit was for Sarah. I believe I saw a post today that said that it's been published already. Yeah, so if you remember from previous lives, I was holding Patton's Croy sock double. And I mentioned last week, you know, that like, I'm not sure this is actually gonna work because I keep knitting it up and it seems like it's too tight. And I don't think I'm actually going to be able to get gauge. And I should have just listened to that and looked for something different. But in my, like, just what I have in my personal stash, I don't have any, realized I didn't have any DK weight yarn. And so I was like, I don't even know what other options there are. I later realized that I had a bin of leftovers from designs that I've made. And there's some DK weight in there. So I did have DK weight yarn. But anyways, I kept working on this and so tight. I was working on zeros, I think. US size zeros, which are, I think that's what I'm working on now too. What size is that? 2 millimeters. So it was starting to get really painful on my hands trying to knit it. And I got to this point, well, a little bit farther because I think a little bit fell out. But I finally got to this point at like 9 o'clock Wednesday night, and I was like, I can't keep doing this. I was still pretty sure that the gauge was going to be too loose, and part of that is like, so the pattern doesn't necessarily give gauge for this, it gives the gauge for stockinette. So I wasn't really sure if I could check my gauge, and so I was like, oh, I'll just see if it actually fits my foot. Anyway, it got painful enough that I was like, okay, I can't keep doing this. But you can kind of see this is the sock shaping, so that this is where your ankle is, and then this goes into the heel, and then this, or is it the other way? Anyway, one is the heel and one's the top of the foot. And I got to the point where I was like, okay, I can't keep doing this. I need some DK weight. So I went through my bin and I found some DK weight, which is, this here is Big Sky, not Big Sky. Maybe Big Sky. No. I don't remember. I designed my going to the mountains poncho with it. The dyer doesn't live in Montana anymore, but used to. Big Sky Fibers? It still doesn't sound right. It's a Montana related name. Anyway, and it's like this cream with blues and browns, and I decided, oh yeah, okay, I would wear that for a sock probably. And so I decided to cast that on. And it was all going hunky-dory. It was much easier to knit. I was knitting it on size 2s, I think, which are like 2.5 millimeters. I don't remember. And anyway, I got to the heel, finished the whole heel, and started working. So then I was just working in the round with no increases or decreases for the foot, and it was like a giant space boot. My gauge was still so off. And I realized that the gauge is actually a lot closer to a fingering weight gauge than a DK weight gauge, or what I'm used to for a DK weight gauge, so that's part of my problem. I'm also a loose knitter, but the bottom of the foot is stockinette. I don't think it shows it in that photo, but it's stockinette, which is what I don't know if you can really see it right at the bottom here. That's stockinette. So I checked that gauge, and that was like basically right on. So the problem is my gauge for the fisherman's rib is way too loose. So like my cuff was fine. My cuff on all of my samples was like fine. But it's this part here where it's the fisherman's rib part that gets so loose. And so now I am working on DK weight yarn. I just changed to size zeros, 2.5 millimeter needles for DK weight socks. And I'm trying to knit tighter so that it's not too loose, because I don't really want to use my 000s for DK weight yarn. That's why I'm working DK weight, so that I don't have to use tiny needles. And so it goes faster. This pattern is Daily Slipper Socks by s.knits on Instagram, Sarah. And I think the pattern just came out today. So I am a belated test knitter. Sarah, if you're watching this, I don't think you hopped on this time, but I'm really sorry. I've sent her messages, but anyway, this is why you don't wait until the last week to start. I mean, I had started working on it a few weeks ago, and I kept going down on my needle size with the Patton's Croy, because I knew that it was too big. So I cast that one on 6 different times, but I didn't change to DK weight until 9:30 Wednesday night. The day it was supposed to be due. So then the DK weight was huge. So obviously I have ripped that back. Yesterday I kept my cast on because my ankle cuff is just fine. And I started working the fisherman's rib again in a smaller needle, which must have been US size 1, and that was still too big. So I went down to US size zeros, 2.0 millimeters. Just now I switched that, so I'm actually going to rip back here down to here and try to restart it, and I think it will work. But I have to be conscious of my gauge and knit tighter so that it's not too loose. But anybody else have I mean, obviously other people have struggles with gauge, but this much trouble? Oh man, it's maybe I shouldn't be a test knitter. I test knit some projects back before I started designing, but I think this is the first one I've test knit since I've been designing. Okay, Beth had shared, I'm half here, but enjoying the happy knit chat vibes while I work on work and close out my... Aw, thank you. Yeah, enjoy the happy knit vibes. And enjoy closing out your week. Yeah, so I shared what pattern it was. And Beth also said, gauge does not exist. That's a part of the great thing about being a designer, is that you can kind of just as you're swatching, change needle sizes and decide what size you want, what you want your fabric to look like, and then you just do the numbers so that it all works out, and you don't have to swatch and get a specific gauge in order to get the numbers to work out. So maybe that's just to be able to cheat, but I don't like gauge swatching, and that's part of why I don't do a lot of stuff that has to fit me. But I want to make more pullovers and sweaters and things, but gauge swatches. It's the weird things designers write to make things hard. The gauge. Beth said the gauge is the weird thing designers write to make things hard. No, it's to make things work. Without the right gauge and the right math stitches, you're not gonna get it to fit. But, yeah. Karen said, even though I'm still on holiday till Sunday, I'm laying out April Sock Club pattern. How fun. Enjoy the rest of your holiday. And this April Sock Club at 9:20 at night. Yeah, I totally understand it working. Remember how I said I moved to DK weight at 9 o'clock at night? Yeah, I also do things at night. I've been trying to do a lot better, but then this week was so chaotic that totally went out the window. So your sock club, Karen, that sounds fun. If you have your design sample close to you and you're comfortable sharing, feel free to come live with me here and love to see your sock pattern or a past sock pattern. Maybe the sock club is mystery. Maybe I shouldn't have you showing it. But regardless, if you'd like to join live, you can either request at the bottom of the screen or you can say so in the chat and I can invite you. But also, given that it's 9:20 at night, I really don't blame you if you don't want to come on live. Yeah, so on this test knit, how long do you think it's going to take me to actually finish? Yeah, I kind of feel bad because I'm a designer. I should know better. I should know better, A, to swatch, and I should know better, B, to be a responsible test knitter and get my stuff in on time, because I know how frustrating it can be if you have a really tight deadline and don't get your feedback in time. So I gave feedback on the instructions, but I clearly didn't have good feedback for the slicing, and I didn't know when she was planning to release it, but I saw, like I mentioned, I saw a post that it was already released and she already sent the pattern on Ravelry. So basically, bad tester status here. Do we have any test knitters here? Who's hanging out here? We have Anne Marie, Karen, and Beth. Well, I know Beth's test knit for me. So, well, Beth, now that you're here, I don't think you were here before. If you want to tell us about your week, feel free to share in the chat, and also, or Beth is an awful test knitter. Oh man, I guess we should just stick to designing. So, yeah, Beth, if you want to tell us about how your week's been, or if you don't want to tell us about everything in your week, you could share 3 words that summarize how your week's been. And then, Beth said she still owes me photos from the shawl that she tested. Yeah, I wasn't going to mention that, but now that you mentioned it, and I know they're going to be adorable because they're going to be on a child. Which, speaking of which, since this is just supposed to be conversation, if you get that to me, like, within the next week or so, I'll still share it on my feed in the reels of the test knitter photos. I think I just have 2 more left of the photos that I have. Welcome to I'm not even going to, I would totally mess up your name, but welcome to the next person that joined. Beth said her week was all in tandem. Yes. You weren't here at the beginning, but I had said, I felt like all week spent in tandem, but actually I took 3 days off of in tandem, but I probably still got 40 hours in. It's a fun project. We're definitely on a, what do you call it? I don't know. Last minute getting everything together. Being a lot of work. Karen said, just checked my bag of tricks. Haven't got any socks here, except maybe May's one that I can't show. Okay, no problem. Plus a day job, because I also like being a developer and almost architect. Yes, you definitely have not only been doing in tandem. Yes. Karen, if you have any other projects, or anybody else here, Anne Marie, Beth, any of you, if you have any projects with you that you're working on, you're also welcome to go live and talk about it. I don't know that like I said, I didn't put together any of my notes. So I can't say I have anything specific else necessarily to talk about. We could talk more about the podcast or the Kickstarter if we wanted to, the magazine or any of that. But I'd also love to hear from you. Even if you're not wanting to hop on live and show your face and your project, you could still share in the comments what you are working on or what you have been working on recently, even if it's not something that you're working on right now. A design or knitting or crochet or anything at all. Oh, I do have something else to share. I have multiple things to share. Okay, let's go back to last weekend. I was going to spend all day working on the Kickstarter campaign. And then I don't think no, because this happened Saturday, so I didn't share it in the last week's live. Okay, so my husband's grandfather passed away a few weeks ago, and he went for the funeral in Wyoming. And my mom wanted to do something for him to remember his grandfather by. When her grandparents had passed, some of her in-laws had gotten like a wreath and a flower bouquet and stuff that were really special to her, and they were artificial, so they're things that she still uses more than 10 years later. I don't remember how long it's been since they passed away, but anyway, so she wanted to do something that he could remember his grandparents by. So I had talked with him, and we had decided that maybe a hanging basket would be good, because we have been living in this house for 2 years, and there are some hooks on the front porch, that are for hanging baskets, and we haven't ever put anything on them. So I thought maybe that would be something nice that we could do. So I went to the floral shops last Saturday and looking for hanging baskets. And of course I was at the floral shops. Like, I was at the garden center, and so I couldn't not look at the flowers, like the other flowers. Like, maybe I need to add something else to my flower bed. I mean, I do have empty spots in my flower bed that I could fill. And so anyway, I was looking. And I have always loved hydrangeas. They're my absolute favorite flower. They were the flower that I used for our wedding. Not necessarily the smartest thing to use for your wedding flower, because they do wilt easily. And we were married in July, and it was hot. So they started to look a little bit sad. But anyway, the point is, I like hydrangeas. And of course, I saw several different hydrangeas, but at our house, we don't have a lot of places where hydrangeas would love to live, because they don't want to be in the direct sunlight getting tons of heat, especially down here in the south. So it's always been this isn't possible kind of thing. But then I found a hydrangea that can be an indoor plant, or it can be on a porch. So it's it didn't have to be in the ground where it could get all huge and need a big shady spot. So I got hydrangeas. And I love them so much. So yeah, that was my exciting thing for last weekend. But then I got home and I was like, oh, now I need to put these in the pots, because I had 2 big container things that the previous owners had left, and I've just used them for different things, but I needed to repot the hydrangeas into that so they looked all pretty for the porch. And then I had to, weed a little bit in the garden or flower bed and do some other things. Oh, and then I had a bunch of potting that I actually needed to do indoors because if you remember from back my birthday time, my husband bought me some flowers or some plants. They don't flower. And they needed pots. So Saturday basically became me playing with my flowers and not doing Kickstarter stuff until late at night. I know this story started with me needing to get something for my husband. Yes, I did get something actually. I didn't just get hydrangeas for myself. So what I found, I actually ended up going to Lowe's and Walmart and stuff. What I found at Lowe's was a strawberry plant, or they had loads of them. They had tons of them. Strawberry plants that are in hanging baskets. And I decided that would actually be perfect. I sent a whole bunch of different stuff to him and he didn't care anyway. So I decided to go with the strawberries because it's something that he can enjoy more than just a plant. Like, I'm bigger into the flowers than he is. And also it felt fitting because both he and his grandfather are pretty practical people. So a strawberry plant to remember his grandpa felt fitting. He also grew up with some fresh fruits and veggies and stuff in his parents' garden, and so he's kind of used to homegrown stuff, which we don't have any of until, well, now we do. We have strawberries. Okay, so Karen, I'll bring you on in a little bit. Sorry, I got distracted. Beth said she's not allowed in garden centers alone anymore. I don't know if I'll ever get banned because it's one of those things where, if we need something, he's not interested in going, so I go. Land of Liberty Yarn said they're her favorite too. Oh, they're so beautiful. Why can't they just be? I wish they were a little hardier. Okay, so then also what day was it? So I brought them home and repotted them Saturday. I can't remember if I watered them a little bit on Sunday, but then it must have been Monday. I was outside and they were so wilted and sad, but fortunately I knew from my wedding that they revive pretty well with water. So they looked terrible on Monday evening. But now I know that they just need some care every single day, a little bit of water, and they've been doing really well since then. And every time I leave the house and come back or go out on the front porch, it just makes me so happy. Beth said they're so pretty, so it's okay. Wahoo Knits also said hydrangeas are my favorite. Beth was laughing at me saying I'm bigger into the flowers than he is. That's them too. Do we have Hydrangea Trees by us? Ours is just starting to get leaves and a whole bunch of hearts. Don't think so. I think I've only seen the hydrangea bushes. They can get really large, but I don't think I've ever seen hydrangea trees. That might be something. Are they hardier? Do they put up with the sun and the heat better? Because I am a little bit worried still about when we actually get into the thick of summer, just hoping that they don't get too hot. I can keep pulling them in farther, closer to the house, but yeah. Full sun and happy. Oh, I also don't know where I would put a tree, but details. Water little and often. Okay, yeah. I'll have to see what happens this summer, but it might be something where I actually need to like water them multiple times a day. Okay, so never heard of the trees. Now I want one so bad. Yes, right? I also love, like, there are so many different colors and sizes of hydrangeas. Like, there's the little teeny tiny ones, and those are adorable. And, oh, they're all amazing. Beth said it's a little tree, like 8 feet tall, fully mature. That's cool. Maybe I just put them in the middle of my yard with all the other trees. You know, like there's a big tree in the middle of the yard. Maybe I just surround it by hydrangea trees. Not really, but okay. So the whole reason I ended up on this tangent about my hydrangeas last weekend is because of my plans tomorrow. So yes, do it. So tomorrow I had, you know, like at the beginning of this month, actually you don't know this, we had originally planned that the Kickstarter would already be out by now, but it kind of became a really big project, bigger project than we had anticipated, and part of that is because the shock hit us of how much money is tied into this project. Anyway, so doesn't matter that much, but for context, I had already planned to meet up with a friend tomorrow. Like, I haven't done anything with a friend in like 2 years, more than 2 years. We've done a couple of things like as a couple with other couples, but I'm pretty sure this is the first time in over 2 years that I've done something with a friend. Anyway, so I had thought that tomorrow would be a great weekend because Kickstarter stuff would be behind us, my podcast would be behind us. I thought that I'd have the Dyer designer meet up pretty well, you know, ironed out and put together, and so I wouldn't be very stressed out this weekend, and it would be a great time to meet up. Well, of course, we're wrapping up the Kickstarter, so I'm feeling a tad bit guilty, but I am really excited to go hang out with her tomorrow. So after the design along call tomorrow morning, we're gonna have lunch, and then we are going to take a class to make a mug and a coaster, pottery, like on the wheel and everything. Like, it's learning how to use a wheel and like make stuff with clay is something I've always been really interested in, but I've never done it, and same with her. So anyway, tomorrow I'm going to be taking a class learning how to use a pottery wheel and making my own mug and coaster. So that's going to be super exciting. Land of Liberty said you can change the color by the acid in the soil. Yes, and let's do it. Yes. Definitely get a tree. They are beautiful. Landscape gardener in a previous life. Oh, okay, Karen, we need to have a chat because our backyard is a mess. It's like a big hill, and every time it rains, there's a whole bunch of water that comes through the middle of it from different areas of the neighborhood, and flows down the hill. So grass doesn't grow all that well on it. And we'd like to make it pretty somehow. So, you know, if you want to design my backyard for me, let me know. Beth said she loves wheel throwing. I'm so excited. It's so fun that it's better for flower pots than mugs. Your first few attempts in my experience. Okay. Good to know. I also was kind of curious just from the wording, like if we're actually going to throw the mugs or if we kind of like roll out the clay and like put the mug together. You know, like I've seen like some folks will like just create a flat slab and roll that up and then put the bottom on it. Because based on the description, I know for sure the coaster we're doing on will, but I can't tell for sure if the mug we're throwing or what exactly is happening with that. But I'm really excited. It's going to be fun. We were going to go to a pottery place where you paint the pottery. And then I got this email from the local, what are they called? The Arts on the Greenway. They do, obviously, a lot of artsy stuff, have different classes and feature different artists and all this different stuff. I got an email from them on Wednesday this week. And so I just texted my friend earlier today. I was like, hey, is this something we'd be interested in? So we bought our tickets. So anyway, it's going to be fun. She's very artsy, really great painter and like drawer. Like she's good at drawing. Actually, another fun side story with that. For those of you that don't know, I grew up in Montana. I now live in North Carolina, which is kind of the other side of the country. And when we moved here, she and her parents were the only people I knew. So when I was growing up as a kid, somebody had gotten us in contact, like a mutual friend, and we were pen pals starting probably in middle school, maybe late elementary school. So she was like the only person and her parents that I knew here. I had met her in person one other time because I flew out for a mutual friend's wedding in Tennessee, but I flew into North Carolina. Anyway, so it's just kind of fun because it's like I never, growing up, would have thought that I'd be living in North Carolina, and here we are. I'm good friends with her parents and stuff. They're pretty close friends to ours. So Beth said slab built mugs are so fun too. Good to know. Fun. Okay, I think, Karen, I'm done with my stories. Are you still interested in showing some of your projects? I think you said you had 2 to share. Yeah, you have 2 items. I might go ahead and see if I can add you. I'll invite you. You're not in a good place to join. Don't feel obligated, but oh. Okay, it says I invited you. We'll see if this works. Also, hello, Sarah. I noticed that you had joined. She's still up for it. I'd love to see. Oh, yes. We're talking about Karen. I don't know. Okay, it does say that I have invited her. Yeah, I think this is something that, it started a few... Sorry, I'm trying to figure out how close to the camera I should be. It started a few weeks ago, and having folks join in and share what they're working on, and I think it's so fun. She's unable to join. Oh, that's sad. Not sure if I can as on this laptop. Oh, that's a bummer. Well, if you send me a picture after this call, I will share it in my stories. Sarah said, I did a much earlier shift than usual and managed to catch you. Yes, you did. Welcome. Hello. Beth, I know you are currently working, so I'm guessing you probably can't join live, but if you'd like to, you're welcome to. And same with you. Well, I mean, I don't know that you're working. Land of Liberty Yarn. I don't actually know your name. I apologize. I should say I don't remember your name. And Anne-Marie, any of you, if you'd like to hop on live, let me know. You can either send a request or I can send an invite. I'm sorry it's not going to work, Karen. It's frustrating. That's one thing that's a little bit annoying about, I mean, not that it's the only thing, but it can be a bit annoying with Instagram that is so, Liberty's your name. Really? Okay, that's so cool. Liberty, if you'd like to join, you're welcome to. It's kind of annoying that Instagram is so mobile focused. Because like you wouldn't tell as I'm like totally hunched over in front of the camera. But a year ago I started trying to do better with my posture and things like that. And so I was trying to do as much as I could on my computer, because when you're working on your phone, you're hunched over and can cause a bunch of neck issues. And caused a bunch of neck issues, a bunch of pain in my neck and all cattywampus and stuff. And so I started trying to do everything on my computer instead. And Instagram, you can only do so much. All right. Karen got on her phone. I think I accepted it. There's always a lot. There it is.
Yeah, no, I had to put it on the phone, so.
Yes, perfect. How are you?
Yeah, the lighting here is not good because it's late at night now, so.
Because it's like 10 o'clock?
Yeah. Yeah, 10 to 10.
Well, thank you for joining.
Yeah, I've only got two things here. One is my Pilkington cardigan. I don't really be able to see it. It is a cardigan with a cable band.
Ah, it's pretty.
It's my oldest pattern, my best pattern, but it's getting relaunched in yak silk.
Ooh.
So that's just been finished off. And one
color too.
Yeah, it's a fuchsia pink.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, a really deep fuchsia pink. So, but the yak silk is so soft.
Uh-huh. I wish I could feel it through the screen.
Yeah, so the pattern is going to be rewritten because yak silk is a thicker gauge than normal DK. So I need to put two options in the pattern now. So,
Perfect.
And the other one is just a little summer top. V-neck, short sleeve summer top.
Cute.
And it's in a merino silk. You know, just a plain, ideal for variegated hand-dyed yarns.
Yeah.
That you don't know what to do with. You know?
And it's a great one of those knits. Like, there's a little bit of interest around it, but it's great.
Yeah. Because a lot of people with hand-dyed yarns that are variegated, they don't want to put a pattern. They can't put a pattern on if you can't see the pattern.
Mm-hmm.
But I've got a full collection of plain sweaters coming out that you can put any variegated yarn on. But then they're also going to be the same sweaters coming out, but they're also going to have stitch patterns on them. Mm-hmm. So there's a whole variety coming out this year.
That's fun. That's super fun. But I love, like the simple stockinette stuff. I used to hate working just stockinette. But, when there's a lot going on, it's really nice to just have something simple to work on. And the other thing is, the main reason I still would knit it, even though I didn't love knitting it before, is that it's so easy to wear with like so many different kinds of things. Like when you start getting patterns and textures and stuff, I'm more conscious about what I wear it with and things like that.
Yeah, it does though. It's harder to do, but it's just stockinette can be so relaxing at times.
Yes, yes.
Repetitive, you can just be so relaxed.
Yes. So Liberty, now that I actually know her name, or I just assumed a pronoun there, I'm sorry. Liberty asked, what is the pattern name of the summer top and where can they find it?
The summer top hasn't got a name yet. It's not going to be out till next month. But it will be, well, you'll share it for me when I put it out. I haven't got a name for it yet. Any suggestions?
Yeah. Liberty, do you have a name suggestion?
Do we have a name suggestion? Got a name yet. It's just a nice bottom-up in the round till the arms, and then just do the front and back.
Yes.
Nice, simple, straightforward, 4-ply, nice and easy.
So fun. Do you know what part of the month it'll be released in? Because May's actually not that far away now.
I know. Don't I know it? Yeah. I'm hoping for the first week in May.
Okay, so that's soon.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when it's up for purchase, where do you have your patterns?
I have them on Ravelry and on Payhip and on Lovecraft.
Okay, perfect. Fun. Let's see. Anne Marie said the Liberty Top.
The Liberty Top. Yeah, well, I can actually see some of them. My Scottish friends are joining in.
So fun. Oh man. Yeah, so Liberty said she can't join right now. She's not home with projects, but looking forward to joining next week. And no problem. We'll look forward to seeing you then. Anne Marie brought us along on her pre-K pickup. Home again, but my current project is adding pocket sew prom dress. That's fun. You could still show us. I guess we don't have any other questions for your projects. Do you have anything else you want to talk about, or anything else you want to say about them?
No. We're busy getting back to the Kickstarter.
Yes. So for folks that don't know, I'm a designer in Tandem. In Tandem's the name of our magazine. Karen is a designer inside of In Tandem, and Beth, who's Fig and Filament, is one of the designers. So there's a few of us here hanging out. Sweet. Somebody mentioned it on the call this morning for the workshop that we kind of have a tendency of like following each other around. We definitely keep in each other's circles. So Liberty said the sunshine tea.
Oh, no, that sounds nice. I like that. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So yeah, Liberty had said sunshine top as well. She said, I love it and can't wait for the pattern. That's
yeah.
so.
Need to get back to her sorting the Kickstarter out.
Yes. Oh man. Well, thank you so much for joining.
No, it's been great. I will, yeah, definitely. I'll catch you next week again, but I will be speaking to you before then.
Yes. All right. Thanks so much.
Thanks. See you later. Bye-bye.
And then Anne Marie, are you interested in sharing your prom dress? I can also send a Sarah has to pop out again. Busy evening, hence the early workshops, but it was such a fun chat. Thanks for joining us. It was fun to have you. I'm pretty sure I still owe you some comments back on YouTube because it's been a crazy week. But yeah, is Anne Marie interested in joining? I think I just sent an invite. If it works for you, great. If not, I'm not offended if you decline the invites. Also, Crafty Fran, I'm guessing that was one of Karen's Scottish friends that she mentioned. If you want to tell us how your week's going and what you've been working on, feel free. We're just sitting here chatting, talking about knitting. Okay, Anne Marie declined. No problem. Yeah, so I guess, we're getting close to the hour already. I kind of just got excited about all of the things this week, I think. 6, 7, 8. And I am going too far with my ribbing here. So your space is too messy. Oh, I understand that you don't want to show, but at the same time, I hope you don't feel like you'd be judged. Like, that, I know it wouldn't bother me, and I hope that it create a space that is filled with people who also feel more justified in living a real life than being judgmental. Yeah, so thanks for joining live and for chatting, or if you're watching the replay, listening to the replay. I don't have I haven't been good about coming up with words for wisdom. So does anybody have any words of wisdom or inspiration or motivation to share with us this week? Anne Marie says that they have 6 kids and have been without a washing machine for 3 weeks. That sounds miserable, the without a washing machine part. And no worries, it's okay. I'm sure that your life is tends to be interesting with 6 kiddos around. I'm sure you keep busy. Somebody was it our call last week, or was it a call inside of the design circle? I don't remember. But folks were talking about their animal. It must have been a design circle call. Folks were talking about their pets and their kids and all of the messes and all of these different things. And we don't have kids or pets, and so I feel like my life is maybe a bit boring compared to everybody else. I don't know if that's always a bad thing, but 9 in total, 6 at home. How fun. My mom is one of 6 children, and my grandma is one of her mom, 9 children. And on the other side of my family, my grandpa is one of 15 children. Some of them died when they were younger, though, so I don't know. I don't think there were ever 15 kids at the same time. He was number 13, so he was a bit later in the one of the youngest ones. All right, let's see if I can come up with some wisdom. My wisdom is, in case you haven't noticed before, tends to be inspired by what's happening in my life. So, my words of wisdom or inspiration, or whatever you want to call it, is to do what you're passionate about. Because, sure, there's been a lot going on. It's been a very busy week, but it's all projects that are very exciting to me and I'm very passionate about, so I'm still absolutely loving it. So do more of what you're passionate about is my little tip for the week. Anne Marie said that her husband's the baby of 12. Yeah. It's funny because then my husband, his family is like, his mom was one of 3, his dad was one of 2, he was one of 3, like much smaller family sizes. But anyway, I guess we're getting really close to the hour now. So thanks again for joining. As always, remember that just learned about the magazine today. I hope it goes well. Thanks so much. We do have an Instagram account now for the magazine, in tandem .zine, Z-I-N-E. So a zine is basically it's like a magazine, but it is created by, like, self-published. It doesn't go through a publishing company, and it's so more like indie created, and tends to be associated with putting out more innovative and new ideas and things like that. And so we feel like this collaboration is a very different way of putting together a magazine. Like, just the way it's very collaborative among all the designers. They're all involved in all of the decisions pretty much. And the designers receive direct compensation from all of the sales. So yes, Karen has 4 daughters and 6 grandchildren, so the house can be busy. I also realized I probably could put in that's the Instagram handle, in tandem.zine. Yeah, so thanks. The Kickstarter will be launching on Thursday. week from yesterday. So we're super excited. And okay, so I was starting to say, as always, a reminder that you are on your own journey. So make sure that you enjoy it, make the most of it, and absolutely love it. Sending big hugs, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend, whether you're doing something new and exciting, or whether you're hanging out and enjoying the comforts of your home, or whatever you're doing. So, all right, I'll talk to you later, and thanks again for joining.